Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Glow Podcast. I'm here today with a very exciting guest. I have Anita from Anita B Spa, and I'm super excited to talk to her about all things aesthetics. But before we get started, if you are new here, we are Tailored Marketing, and we help aesthetic clinics and skincare clinics grow their businesses and increase their revenue through strategic marketing strategies. So if you're interested, drop a comment below. Anita, I'm very excited to have you here to talk about all things aesthetics and wellness, as well as I know you're kind of expanding on that within your business. And so I would love if you would just kind of go ahead and introduce yourself so my listeners know who you are.
Hi, Taylor. Thank you for having me. I
Of
am
course.
Anita Chan, owner of Anita B Spa in San Francisco, and I am in the process of expanding my business to Redwood City in the Bay Area, Peninsula area, called Anita B Well. So we are adding in a lot more services that we can discuss further in the podcast.
Yeah, no, that's super, super awesome. And so what all, I guess, like right now do you guys do at Anita B Spa?
Yeah, we're essentially right now in San Francisco, we're an urban day spa. So we offer mostly beauty services, skincare services is our specialty. So all types of facials, lash and brow treatments, spray tanning, massage. We also have an acupuncturist in-house, Reiki healing. So we offer just beauty and wellness services.
Yeah, no, that's super awesome. And with you all expanding too with more of the wellness, like what are you kind of looking to offer with those as well?
Absolutely. So we're in our Redwood City location. We're looking to offer more wellness treatments, in particular to supporting women through their hormonal journey, as well as kind of calming the nervous system. So as we all know, cortisol can be a huge enemy to our body. So offering services not just for women, for men as well. Things such as infrared saunas, cold plunges, hyperbaric oxygen chambers. So we're really hoping to bring the external internal and internal external.
That's super, super awesome. Yeah, I feel like those two things complement each other so well. Like I feel like people are starting to realize it more. I just feel like there's been more conversation about it, within the past, like, however long, like 5 to 10 years, people have kind of been talking about longevity, like biohacking, all of these keywords that now are very commonplace for most people to be using and concerned about. With you opening up the wellness part of your business, is that because people are coming to you and they're like, oh, I'm interested in these services, or like they just want to know more about it?
Well, I am in the Bay Area, so we are very innovative in
Yeah.
especially the term biohacking, right?
Yeah.
So we hear that quite a bit, and I would say kind of start off with like the tech bros, really wanting to sustain their health and creative capacity and longevity. So the reason that I got into it is slightly different. It began when I was 38. I froze my eggs, and being in the beauty industry for over 20 years, we've always talked about the importance of not only treating skin, just skin deep. We always talk about gut health and mental health and all of that. That was always important for us to go through with our clients.
Of
But
course.
when I froze my eggs at 38, I had always worked with women who had infertility issues, who has gone through the IVF process, or women who just naturally conceived but had major issues with postpartum. And so when it was my turn to go through that process, I
Yeah.
realized how much lack there was in education for women's health, especially as I am well into my 40s, going through perimenopause, and my clients, who are all kind of around my age, also
Yeah.
going through things like menopause. We realize that we just don't get the support even from our medical doctors. And so I knew that the treatments that are out there for biohacking and longevity plays a part in how to support women going through such services. And when I froze my eggs, it was just going from clinic to clinic to clinic. And it was like, poking myself with injections and taking
Yeah.
hormones and doing all of that. And it was, we always hear with fertility is, the level of stress that women go through that can prevent fertility. And so we really wanted to have a space to support women and men or their counterparts that are going through such process so that we can keep that nervous system at a really calm state, lower the cortisol, and in hopes support that process of fertility.
Yeah. No, that's such a cool, like, I mean, such a relatable story, I guess, is probably the best word, because I feel like a lot of people have gone through something in their life that, like, it makes them kind of look at their wellness journey a little bit differently and be like, okay, like, why isn't there better access to this? Why isn't there more education on this? Or, like, why isn't this easier to get, even? Like, it's like, okay, why can't, because I've heard of like hyperbaric chambers, but I'm like go and you go somewhere and you can't find them like most places that you go. Or if you do find them, then you need like crazy prescription or like, something like that kind of. So like making it more accessible for people is a really, really cool concept, because a lot of these things are becoming like a little bit more mainstream, I guess, but like there's still not as much access to it.
That's 100. You really hit the nail on its head, because exactly, these treatments have been around for a while. It's been studied very deeply. It's just that there was no access to it because one, it's either very expensive or you had to get prescribed for some
Yeah.
kind of treatment. But I think companies are starting to make such machinery or tools more accessible, even having things like cold plunges and hyperbaric oxygen chambers in people's homes.
Yeah.
And another part of it is, being in the Bay Area, as we talk about kind of biohacking, I realized that of all the places I've been to in the Bay Area or within the country, these wellness or social wellness clubs was just very tech bro-y or very kind of hippie, Burning Man. It was a very subculture. And I really wanted to create a space that the everyday person can feel comfortable approaching. It was just, the other ones were very like, oh, am I entering into this club and I don't really fit in? But I really want a space where it's not intimidating. We're all here for the same reason, and then they can, enjoy the services as well.
Yeah. No, that's super, super cool. I think that that's great. And so, will the Redwood City office or the Redwood City location have your beauty as well, or will it primarily just be wellness?
We will definitely. Beauty is just my
Yeah.
background. I've been in it for so long. And so we will definitely, of course, still have my specialty involved. And, I think they go hand in hand. It's very cohesive. When I'm in the treatment room with my clients, we're not only talking beauty and not wellness, right? The conversation comes together.
Yeah.
And in particular, to conversations like perimenopause, it was shocking to me that a lot of the symptoms that I was feeling, I didn't realize were symptoms of perimenopause, and other women were feeling the same way. And even though women like to talk to each other, we don't talk about these symptoms because we don't even realize that they're symptoms of perimenopause. So opening up that conversation, really going back to answering your first question, it really led me to realize that a lot of women are feeling these symptoms and going through the same thing. They're just not having the support and not talking about it. So now that I've opened up the conversation, so many people were like, oh my God, they want to learn more about supplementation. They want to learn more about treatments that can help them. And I always say, we're not medical. We're not trying to treat anything because even our healthcare industry hasn't had it figured out. But we
Yeah.
all want to feel better today.
Yeah.
Like we just need to feel better right now.
For sure. And I feel like that community aspect too that you just spoke a little bit about is so important, because community really promotes transparency. If you see somebody else who is going through something similar as you're going to be a lot more likely to talk about it. And I know that you also mentioned that community is a big theme in your business, and I'm sure you want to continue to kind of promote that within the wellness part of the business as well. So what gaps like with that are you kind of trying to fill, like within kind of that community part of it?
Yeah, it really is bringing together practitioners and specialties of all different ranges.
Yeah.
So, for example, like energy healing to an acupuncturist with
Yeah.
traditional Chinese medicine to maybe a holistic doctor, so bringing Eastern and Western philosophies together. And, there's there's a fine line in the industry with like people selling snake oil and,
Yeah.
and things being a little woo woo to actually just energy healing using crystals, sound baths, breath work,
Yeah.
so there's that fine line between science and a little out there, but it's just being open-minded to what helps each person individually.
Yeah.
Maybe breath work is the answer for somebody, and somebody else, they actually really need to see an acupuncturist and get the herbs and things like that. So just really exposing our community to what's out there and just being open-minded and trying, so that they can be educated. At the end of the day, it's just learning about yourself, right?
Yeah.
And what works for you.
No, for sure. I think that, yeah, an individualized approach is always good. And it's like some of the stuff too, like now learning more about the holistic wellness community and just like what's out there. Like when I first started learning about this, there was some stuff and I'm like, that, yeah, no way. There's no way that works. And then you try it and you're like, oh my gosh, like this is amazing, you know? So like I think also it takes people that are a little bit open-minded, and maybe like if something, maybe like at first when you hear about it, it sounds like snake oil to you. And then you try, like if you are open-minded enough to try it, then it might work, you know?
Yeah.
But and also what's maybe like doesn't work for one person will work really well for another person too. So it's like even trying these different avenues to be like, okay, like, maybe I have like inflammation, or like I'm really, really stressed. Like, what's going to help with this the most? And so it's like trying those different kind of avenues within wellness to see what works best for you, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, something that's in the pipeline for the Redwood City location in a couple of years is the postpartum confinement period that in the Eastern world and the Asian cultures,
Yeah.
it's been around for centuries. And, just growing up, I always saw my family members, my peers, their parents telling them that they had to do this confinement period. And it's starting to become quite a trend over here in the Western side of the world. And, some people might think there's not much of a need, but it's not just old wives' tales. It's not snake oil. It's tried and true. Traditional Chinese medicine has been around for a long time. And I
Yeah.
think finally it's starting to be recognized. And, even my friends that live in other countries, they go through all of the program of the confinement period. And I really, truly do see people heal so much better versus, women here in this country where it's like, okay, you have your baby a day or two later, goodbye, you're on your own, and it's all about the care of the baby. But in Asia, it's a lot of the care of the mom's healing.
Yeah.
So I see a difference with that.
Yeah, and I guess when you talk to the like confinement period with like Chinese and like Eastern medicine, like what does that kind of look like for a woman like postpartum? Like how long does that last? Like are they completely alone, or like what does that look like?
So it's quite the opposite. They're completely not alone at all.
Okay.
They have a huge community and a lot of support around them. And typically, traditionally, it's about 1 month. So from giving birth to 1 month. The really strict ones are to the point of like not showering for a whole month, not
Oh
stepping
my
foot out of the
gosh.
house. But even my mom was like, no, I didn't do that. And I believe that came from back in the day. Maybe they didn't have heat in homes. They didn't have hot water to shower. So I can see why that came from, that idea came from. But now, yeah, you can shower, but there's things like you shower with ginger water or wash your hair with ginger water. The nutrition is so important. What you're eating afterwards, the food is a lot of like collagen heavy, fresh produce and vegetables. And if we had the acupuncturist here, she'll talk all about not eating raw
Yeah.
fruits and vegetables. It's a lot to keep the warmth in the body because our uterus is not used to cold. It's an organ that needs to be warm. And then, my friends in Asia, they'll get massages every day to kind of help with the water retention.
Yeah.
They'll soak their feet. So actually and then a lot of treatments to help with the production of milk.
Yeah.
So things like that. So it's actually, completely not alone. It's really having the support of all of these people who are specialists in different parts of it come and help you within that first month. And then of course, teaching the baby how to latch on and all of that.
Yeah, it's like a month of self-care basically. It's like we're not like focused on work. We're not focused like we like taking a little bit of time to yourself, but having other people around you. That's why I didn't know what you meant when you said confinement. I'm like, are they just taking like a week or something to like be by themselves? Like, I'm like, that's fine with me too, because I need to decompress sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, the word confinement, I think because it came from such a belief
Yeah.
before, but now it's you're not really confined, but you do follow this regimen and routine of how to take
Yeah.
care of your body.
Yeah. No. And I just love too, like how I feel like your background is so diverse, like with you having acupuncturists, like, you know, you said you've had the background in beauty, you have all of these like Western medicine and Eastern kind of combining together, so like you're getting both sides. It's not just like one where you're like super focused on this or super focused on this, but it's kind of the best of all worlds combining together.
Yeah, I was fortunate to once upon a time have been an international flight attendant. So
Mm-hmm.
I really took advantage of that opportunity to fly around the world and see how different cultures approach beauty and wellness and health and all of that. So I was able to really kind of pull together. This is interesting in their approach in how to, treat melasma or something like
Yeah.
that. So yeah.
No, for sure. That's super cool. And I guess what trends right now, like in aesthetics, in wellness, in biohacking, longevity, really whatever, like are you kind of most excited for? I know that within aesthetics, like a lot of things that we do here, they come from South Korea, obviously wellness and stuff from kind of all over the world. But what are you seeing that you're really, really excited about?
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to see the rollback in cosmetic procedures. While I love cosmetic procedures and there's a lot of great treatments out there, when I was a flight attendant, something that as flight attendants did when we arrived at the destination, we would go get lymphatic drainage massages to help with water retention. And I like that people are understanding the kind of maintenance care,
Yeah.
routine of treatments rather than just going to get lipo right away.
Yeah.
And even in facial, cosmetic care now, people are pulling away from fillers and they're trying to stimulate their own collagen production.
Yeah.
So even in Korea, even though they have very innovative treatments, their approach is to go less
Yeah.
and less invasive rather than full on surgery invasive care.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. I love like the less invasive care, especially like for myself. Like if I hear something like has, you know, over like a week or two downtime, I'm like, no. Like I can't not be on Zoom or like not be out in public for that long or like not be able to expose myself to the sun or anything like that. So I completely agree with you. And another thing too, just kind of going off of what you said, is like I feel like when filler was kind of first being discovered, a lot of people were maybe like overfilling a little bit. And I feel like now people are getting a lot better with that and really sticking to the facial structure of whoever they are doing treatments on, rather than trying to make it like look like, you know, this perfect person. It's more of like, what do they look like and how can I enhance their beauty naturally?
Yeah, and the standard of beauty is different in all parts of the world, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're a melting pot here in the US, but it's nice to not go into a doctor's office and they're trying to transform my face into the
Yeah.
Western, face, right? So it's really just enhancing the natural look and overall skin health is a big thing, which I love because at the end of the day, if the core and the foundation is not right, no matter what you do, you're really just kind of putting band-aids and plaster over everything.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think like, yeah, skin is one of the most important things. I feel like when you are kind of like looking at somebody, or if you meet them for the first time and you're wondering like how old they are, you know, whatever, you're kind of looking at their skin first as like a target for that. So if you have good skin, then it just overall makes you look better.
Yeah, and one thing that growing up, my mom and aunts would always actually look at for our face is not just the health of our skin, but like the energy behind the skin. So like the color of our tone. So they're
Yeah.
really, when Asians kind of make those snide comments of how we look, a lot of it is like, oh, your energy seems low, or like, oh, you seem kind of gray, and versus like, oh, you're very pink and blushed. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, that's another trend that I'm loving is the connection between mental health, energy work, along with beauty.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like also another thing too right now that I'm hearing and seeing a lot is also the connection of our skin with like what we're eating too. Do you work with anybody kind of on like their nutrition to like how they can get better skin with like their gut biome and things like that?
Yeah, that's always a conversation. And, even when I started in the industry, that was always something that I would ask clients is what their diet looks like and what their gut health is. I think when people come in for skincare treatments, they, for some reason, think that that organ is disconnected to anything else,
Yeah.
or they think the face is disconnected to the body. But I always remind them it's really all connected. And, when the fetus is formed in a woman's stomach, the same cell that creates our skin and our mind is the same cell that kind of starts to grow, which a lot of people don't know. And so,
That's cool.
which all comes from the gut, right? So there's a vagus nerve that connects our gut to our mental health. And so it's all very, very much connected. But, definitely working with each client on what their diet looks like. And I'm not a dietitian,
Yeah.
and everybody's balance is going to be different, right? So for us, the real goal is to educate clients, have them seek the education that they need, right? So if they're feeling bloated all the time, or certain foods that they eat just doesn't sit right, a lot of people just tend to ignore it and just like, oh, I just feel bloated all the time. Maybe that doesn't, maybe you shouldn't be feeling that way.
Yeah.
Maybe go seek, certain type of doctor, or go seek this type of treatment and get educated. So for us, the goal is always to educate, always to let clients know what's out there so that they can get the answers and start feeling better. Once you feel better, you're going to look better, and vice versa. You look better, you feel better.
Yeah, no, definitely. I completely agree with you. And I feel like I've heard somebody say this before, like our skin is like the canary in the gold mine, because it's the organ that we can see. So it's like if something kind of is, if you have like something like eczema or psoriasis, there's normally something larger going on the inside that you're also going to need to also fix these external issues as well.
Yeah, I think that the main purpose of traditional Chinese medicine is really understanding what's causing the symptoms, whereas Western medicine is treating the symptoms and then trying to find out. So it's kind of, and not saying one is better than the other. I believe in the care of both.
Yeah.
But sometimes, yeah, if you have something like eczema, psoriasis, like, okay, what organs are causing, those types of skin conditions?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, no, I think that that's a really good point. And so I know obviously that you are opening up your new clinic. What else is kind of on the horizon for you all over the next year or so? What are your main goals? What are you focused on right now?
Yes, so definitely the main focus is this new location so that we can really create a beautiful space where we can build that community and have our clients feel supported in whichever part of their journey they are with their hormones, be it
Yeah.
family planning to postpartum to menopause, and really having that space where people can get the help, get the right resources. Secondly, what's in the pipeline, as I mentioned, is the postpartum care portion of this location. What I'm also currently working on is also having my own podcast.
That's
What I
awesome.
that Thank you. I love what you're doing because it's after a while the business that I'm in, we're brick and mortar, and I can only treat so many people,
Of
but
course.
I've gained, 20 something years of knowledge of building relationships with my clients. And I've learned so much from each person. And so I'm hoping to have a podcast where we can have conversations where people can share their stories and hopefully have a broader reach.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And then the podcast will also help so much with education and building a community. And like I said, too, with just like the transparency aspect, if people see others sharing a similar story, they're going to be like, I went through the same thing. Or like, now I want to share my story. Or like, look what they did to kind of heal themselves. And like, maybe I can do something similar. So I feel like the more education, collaboration really that's out there in the space is just better for everybody.
Absolutely. That's the key is collaboration. That's always how I approached business and everything. And I knew that that's what the future is going to be is collaboration. It's no longer the one business being competitive with everybody else. As we can see, that's not, people don't like that anymore. So it's all about collaboration and how we can just come together, share more, and maybe come up with new innovative things.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Well, tell everyone where is the best place to find you and Anita B's Spa online and stay up to date on your new location, your podcast, and all of those fun things.
Yes, definitely. So we have AnitaBSpa.com, which you'll find all of our services. Our Instagram handles Anita B Spa, and then I will be starting to filter in some of the updates on the new location on Instagram, Facebook, and just reaching out. Just Anita B Spa on all platforms. You'll be able to find us.
Awesome. And I'll also put that in the show notes as well for easy access. Thank you so much for coming on today. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Taylor.